Happy Christmas from Oliver's Greenhouse. Welcome back. Now I recorded a little video yesterday which would have been Christmas Eve. It's now Christmas Day morning. The first drink has started. I think it's only 9 o'clock in the morning here, but why not? It is Christmas. So yeah, I did a video yesterday in which I think it was really interesting because ever since I started out on this hobby or this venture, I've always had one stoic supporter since day dot, and that's my grandmother. Now she's 91 years old and she's down with us for Christmas. She's never been in the greenhouse, she's never seen any of it at all. So this is the first time bringing her in here. So what I did was I basically filmed her reactions and we talked, and I think it'd be really interesting to see, for you guys to see as well, her reaction to it, because like I said, she's always supported this hobby, and she's always been a big fan, and she's not going to be with us forever, you know what I mean? So really want to sort of like capture these sort of moments because they're going to be so significant as well, and you know, the kids are old enough as well, so that they're always sort of, she's going to feature well in their lives, which is really important. So Harry's in the video as well, so it's really good, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So once again, Merry Christmas. Deep it the whole time, yeah. I'm going to close the door.
Oh my word!
Come on in.
Oh my word! Oh, it's lovely and warm, isn't it?
It's lovely and warm in here.
Hairy thing.
That's a sundew, Nana. That's
it?
how it catches its prey. They get stuck on here, and then they suffocate, and then it digests them by releasing enzymes through sessile glands on the surface of these, or basically their leaves. Fascinating, isn't it? So I grow quite a lot of carnivorous plants.
What's this one then?
This is a utricularia.
Oh yes.
So what it is, this is a bladderwort. It creates underground or subterranean traps underneath the water, basically, and catches things like Daphnia and small nematodes and stuff like that in little clear traps which are in here. They're very hard to see, but it produces pretty little flowers. Like this one over here, this is in flower. Here's a little tiny.
Oh my word!
3 little flowers.
Drosera.
They're Scorpioides. See this tiny. I'll pick it up so it's easier to see. You see that tiny plant there?
Yes.
That's a pygmy sundew. That's like one of these, but that's as big as it gets. It doesn't get any
Where
bigger
did you
than
get
that.
that from?
This originates from Western Australia, but
Yeah.
I got it from another grower, so someone else who grows them. There's quite a good
small as that?
No, that's as big as it gets. Yeah, that was tiny, but it was something called a gemme before, which is like a tiny seed, and you plant it. It's about that big. You can only just about see it. And then it germinates and grows into an adult plant.
Oh my god!
A lot of these are from Western Australia. You can see how sticky
Oh yes.
some of them are.
Wow.
Adelaide. And these are Nepenthes. These come from places like the Philippines and Sulawesi, and it produces these picture traps like this. You see, and you see they're full of water.
Yes.
They're quite heavy.
Is that one? Next one dead?
There's a few dead ones on there. I let them die right off before I cut them off. That's what they start when they come out like these little tendrils.
Oh, I see.
But they're a type of vine. So what they do is they stay like this stage, like a small shrubby plant for a while, and then they begin to vine, and then they climb up all over the place.
Oh.
And you can see they produce. You see how sticky it is in here?
Oh,
There's like a sticky nectar, and that's what attracts the flies and stuff.
And do you get flies in here then?
No, they don't last very long.
No, I mean, can they get in?
They can, yeah, absolutely.
Is that a banana?
That's a canna.
Oh.
Canna musifolia. So that's basically canna, and then musa, which is the genus of bananas, because they're like musa basically means banana. So it's Musa cavendishii is a banana.
All right, touching the roof.
I think so. Yeah, it doesn't seem to interfere with it too much. And over this side, this is where I grow my orchids. Over this side. Yeah.
Oh my word!
Yeah, come on over. It's solid. You can hold on to it.
Goodness gracious me!
So this is Paphiopedilum Jersey freckles. Well, I think it is. I've asked the YouTube community whether or not that they all sort of have the same sort of agreement that it is, but it's actually not long been out in flower. There's another flower spike coming up here, another one over the back there as well. So they'll turn into pretty much exactly the same as what you're seeing there. And then I grow a lot of miniature orchids up here as well. So these are all.
Is that an orchid?
Everything in here is an orchid.
Well, that's
Believe it or not.
unusual,
Yeah,
isn't
look
it?
at that. That's an orchid.
It's
And
great.
it looks like grass.
It
It's
does.
Isabelia. Yeah. And there's a little tiny orchid all the way from Colombia in here. This is the Lepanthes.
What are you growing that on?
This is a man-made material, so it's slightly better for the environment than
It's a
using
bit
cork and
volcanic,
stuff.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's made out of. It's like a spun material, but it's
Yes.
very hygroscopic, so it really holds moisture in there. And this is Lepanthes caledictian. This is one I got from a company called Equigenera. So they flew it all the way from Colombia to the Royal Horticultural Society Orchid Show in London, and I collected it when I was up there.
How much was that then?
Oh, not a great deal, I don't think now. I can't really remember. It's quite easy to lose track of cost of orchids. Just unwind that there, but that's a bud. That's going to be a
I
flower. That
see.
tiny little thing there.
It's like an anthurium.
It does look like anthurium,
Yeah.
yeah, with those heavily veined leaves, yeah.
Yeah.
It likes very high humidity, which is why I have to leave it inside this bio orb, basically, just to keep the humidity up nice and
Yes.
high. And he just sits in there.
Wow.
There we go. So yeah, super high humidity. This is out in flower at the moment.
Oh, I thought that was
Bobblefoot of
something
Jersey.
dead.
It's
Oh.
still sort of opening, which is why the petals look a little bit distorted.
Yes.
But it's got this weird rocking lip here. See the way it moves backwards and
Oh.
forwards.
How
So
long
the
will
ins-
that last then?
I think they last about 4 or 5 days out in flower. So what happens is the insect lands on this lip here, and
Yeah.
because it's articulating, it then tips the insect onto the anther, which is just where that yellow dot
Yes.
is. So it forces it to pollinate it. It like tricks it basically.
Wow.
It's clever, isn't it? Yeah.
Very clever.
And these are all they're all epiphytic, most of these anyway. So they all grow stuck to trees and on compost
Yes.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So I grow them thusly on here, but they're sort of, this was in flower recently. It's got tiny little white flowers that come out of it, but it looks a bit like a mouse. Well, I think it looks like a mouse because it's got sort of got
Oh,
hairy
yeah.
covering all over the sheaths. These are all
Yeah.
new little white roots coming out of it.
Oh, wow.
Isabelia, it's a nice name, isn't it? Isabelia virginalis.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
that is. It comes from South America, and this is a similar species as well. And it projects these little tiny
Oh,
bulbs, and then
yes.
these little long terete
You'd never think
leaves.
they'd achieve anything, would you?
No, and this produces lovely little pretty white, little purple flowers, which are held. This is an old flower spike, that little bit on my
Is
finger.
this on cork?
Yeah, it's a piece of cork. I just cut it out, and then put sphagnum moss on
Yeah.
it, and then I use fishing line just to hold it on there because they're epiphytes. If you leave them for long, they just glue
Never-
themselves to everything.
Never noticed the
No,
fishing
it's
line.
really fine, and that's why I like using it. Some people
Yeah.
like this one here is tied on with that horrible. I got this
Oh.
came like that, but it's got that horrible green
Yeah.
plastic on it.
Very, very,
Yeah, I don't think it does the job,
apparent.
but it doesn't look very good. I don't think
No.
so. I like them to look sort of quite
And
natural.
what's this going to be?
That is a cymbidium. You had a cymbidium growing. I'm just going to move. Oh, by the way, you're on camera as well. This is.
No.
Yeah, there's about 16. Well, we've had 16,000 views so far. So,
Good grief.
and there's
Oh, look at
there's
this.
at least. Oh yeah, it's my brassia. The brassia's in flower. Yeah, come over here. I'll move this out of the way. Yeah, unfortunately, a few things have finished recently.
That's just.
Just gone over, that was, yeah, ornithorhynchum, that was.
Well. And is this something you had to buy, especially?
That object there, this is a swamp cooler. So what it does is it's got, in the back of here, it's got a big fan inside it,
Mhm.
and then in the back it's got aspen sawdust all in bags. And what it does is it pumps water into the top of these bags, and it trickles down like in a big reservoir, and it blows the air through it. But because the air evaporates, it cools. So it's basically like an air conditioner. It uses evaporative cooling, so it blows very strongly into here. There's vents that go in the back. I've taken it out now, but I've got a louver, this thing here,
Yes.
with the vents. So that opens up automatically. It's got a temperature control thing on it. So it opens up at 27 degrees
Uh-huh.
centigrade. Then this comes on, and it blows cold air into the greenhouse to keep it cold, because otherwise it gets too hot in here. Because they're really fussy. If it goes above 27 degrees, everything starts going a bit sick.
Of
Yeah.
course, yes.
Yeah. Here's an interesting looking flower for you.
Oh,
Bulbophyllum fascinator.
wow.
How unusual is that?
Gosh.
It's almost got that, if you blow on it, it's almost got these like little hairs on top of it. Yeah. Really pretty little orchid. That one, it flowered before. It flowered previously from here with some slightly bigger flowers. But the flower starts really long on this, so that flower's been open for over a week now. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I grow them in these little saucers because they're a lot of them are lithophytic, so they like stick themselves to rocks, and they grow around streams and where there were like little seeps and stuff coming off the mountains and stuff. So they only have little shallow roots, and they grow in moss. So I basically grow them in. There's actually a little bit of vermiculite in this one, but it's basically small grade orchid bark. And then milled, chopped. I just chop up sphagnum moss by hand with a pair of scissors and mix that in there, and then some perlite just to keep the air moving, because their roots are so shallow. The roots are only like this long, and then they sort of scramble across. This is the same species. This is another bulbophyllum orchid. It basically means growth, like bulbous, like growth. So they've got these sort of like cigar shaped, and there's a little tiny Drosera capensis, which is also taken to growing in there as well. I don't know how it got there. It just seeded in there. So yeah, lots of new growth. These are new growths coming out here where these lumps are. There's more new growth here. See these little buds emerging here?
Yeah. It's a healthy shoot.
Yeah, that was only this year's growth. That's not been out for very long. These are all relatively new. But all these little ferns, all these little maiden hair ferns take off. It's just because I use the rainwater, so obviously it's full of moss spores, and so it all grows. I get lots of compliments about how green and how natural it looks, because of course they look like they're growing across. Yeah. It looks really cool, so people like that.
Do you get that in the forest, though?
I have done in the past, yeah. Oh, there's some new flowers that have come out on this.
Oh!
Little tiny little ones there. Look.
Goodness me.
They should smell, I'll just see if they do. Oh, they do a little bit, you should be able to smell that.
Oh,
really sweet perfume, it smells a bit like moisturiser, I think.
A bit vanilla.
I've got a vanilla.
Reminds me of sweets.
It does smell like sweets, doesn't it? These brassica flowers are supposed to smell as well. They usually have to wait till they're a bit older. You can see how many flower spikes there are on it.
They're fascinating, aren't
Come on,
they?
look at the size of them.
Is this...
This is an old cane, this is.
Do you leave that on?
I will do for the minute, nip it off, and then when it's finished flowering, there's a new growth coming out down here underneath this sheath. So that'll turn into another one of these bulbs, flower again. So what I'll do, I'll let them go mature a little bit more, and then I'll bring them in the house, because they're quite nice in the house, and people like to have a look at them.
I think that one, well, that really is quite incredible.
This is stunning, yeah. This is, I think it's going to flower actually. This is Drosera schizandra. This is a particularly rare type of carnivorous plant.
Oh.
But what's interesting about this is it's losing its carnivorous ability.
Why?
Where it grows in the rainforest, so it's really wet, so it washes all of its sticky glue off, which it uses to catch prey. And there's also lots of ants, and whenever it catches something, the ants steal what it catches off of it. So it's actually taking an evolutionary step. It's moving away from being carnivorous to just being a normal plant, just relying solely on photosynthesis.
Yes. So
yeah, quite rare, but yeah, I need to separate them out and make it into more than one plant. I need to divide it. It's getting a bit overgrown. And this is I just grow sphagnum moss. Yes. It's quite easy to grow, so it grows really well in here. And then I've taken some root cuttings of some of the other carnivorous plants and just lay them in there, and then they just grow.
Wow.
And then just take them out and pop them up. So
you certainly know what you're doing.
Yes, well, I don't know about that. We're pretending.
Hold it up.
Yes, let's move over this way.
Oh, that's a pretty little.
I'll move it over towards the front so we can see it a little bit better.
Oh, here's another panel.
It is. The only reason I've got them in here still is because they won't survive the cold weather, you see, over winter. And what I want to do is put them out in the garden at the front, because they'll actually tolerate quite a chalky soil.
Yeah.
But I quite think they're quite fun because they keep flowering all year round. So.
Brilliant.
And you've got rubrifolia, which is the red one there, and then this is the normal one, because I grew them from seeds. These came from Merritt's Wood, believe it or not. I just picked them off the plant. And planted them up, and just grew a few of them in the front garden, really.
Yes.
So they came out really, really well. There's an air plant, a Tillandsia. Got given that for free. It doesn't have any roots at all. In fact, I just used a hot glue gun just to glue it to the cork. And then it grows, but it produces really pretty little purple flowers eventually. I don't know much about them. This is the only one I've got. I don't really grow them very often, but it's grown since I've had it, and it just sort of creates these little fans of stuff.
Yes.
And so you see it's got like a silvery coating to it, and that's how it absorbs the moisture. So I just spray it every day.
Yes.
And I mean it's pretty humid in here now. It's constantly 70% humidity in here because all see these black nozzles here. I've got a misting system,
Right.
and it sprays really fine mist out.
Oh God, it's a bit labour intensive.
No, it's not. That's the
Isn't
beauty.
it?
It's mostly automated, so I don't have to do anything.
Oh,
This is a no-beal orchid, so it's got these lovely flowers
aren't they lovely?
on here.
Yes.
See, some of them have got like a little purple tinge on
Oh
the
yes,
lip. You see.
yes.
And one of my subscribers identified this. I think it's called. It is Dendrobium nobile Spring Breeze Apollon. I think it is. I think it's what it's called. I have to. And this is that's a vanilla. That's where vanilla comes from.
Oh,
Off of this
right.
vine, this is vanilla parvifolia. And it's a type of vine, so
Yes.
and it loves lots of high humidity, which is why I'm keeping it super wet at the moment. But it was only this big when I got it, and it started to grow. And these are new roots coming out here by
Wow.
my finger. There's some more new roots around
Yeah,
the back.
when I tell people that vanilla pods come from orchids, they don't believe me.
Yeah, they do.
They do,
yeah.
yes,
It was
yes.
known as the easiest translation of the Aztecs was they used to put the black orchids. But not because of the flowers, but because of the seed
seed
pods.
pods,
Yeah, and they used,
yeah.
they used to consider it a serious aphrodisiac when they combined it with cacao, you see, which is basically vanilla flavoured chocolate. So they'd eat that and they
Yeah.
find it invigorating. And these are all nepenthes. These all come from other tropical places like the
Yes.
Philippines and stuff. And these are the same species
Oh,
as that one
yes.
over there. So that's a lot older. These are only, I grew these from like little seedlings.
Wow.
So it's got these very colourful pitfall traps, insects fall in, and then it digests them in fluids inside there. But yeah, I grow quite a few different types of these.
Goodness me.
This is a particularly rare one. This is called Nepenthes aristolochoides, and here's one of the traps here. And
Oh,
I think,
yes.
yeah, I think the entire world wild population now consists of like 10 individuals of this plant. That's
Yeah.
it. This is obviously all of mine are grown from cultivation. They're not taken from the wild or anything like that. But yeah, it's quite a seriously rare plant, that one.
Wow.
Cool, isn't it?
is.
Very unusual little traps because they have like the hole on the side rather than on top. And it predominantly eats like small flies, fungus, gnats and stuff like that in the wild. Cool, isn't it? And it'll turn into a vine, so it'll stay stubby like this for a
Yeah.
while, and then it goes into a vining stage, and it'll start to climb up all over the inside of the
Do you
greenhouse.
have to put things up?
I will. I'll put wires and
Eventually.
strings up
Yes,
and stuff, so I can
yes.
hang it up there.
Oh, my goodness me.
Yeah, unusual, isn't it? Here's another type of Nepenthes. This is Nepenthes lowii. These are tiny little seedlings, and you can see one of the little pictures just down here with my finger, just there.
Oh, yes.
They're super tiny. But this is quite interesting because it's developed a symbiotic or synergistic relationship with a type of woodland shrew, a tropical woodland shrew.
Yes.
So this is a tiny little baby. When it's fully mature, these traps are huge. They're like this sort of size, and it produces a sticky white substance on the top of this flap here. It's called a peristome, and it produces like a sweet secretion on it. And this shrew, this tropical shrew, sits on top of the pitcher and eats the stuff off of it, and at the same time it poos.
Oh, God.
Inside so it eats basically vole poo in the rainforest, and it's developed this weird relationship with it. So it's like crapivorous, eats crap. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's fantastic. These are pinguiclias, so this is basically like living fly paper. So they've got like a sticking touch on them. They're sort of sticky leaves. So the insects land on it, and they get stuck to the surface of the leaf.
Yes.
And then the plant digests them, but it produces these really pretty little
Oh, isn't that?
purple flowers, and it's got quite a long base on the back of the flower, and the nectar's down in here, so it probably relies on things like hummingbird moths and insects
the
with a
long
particularly long tongue,
Tongue.
yeah, to actually pollinate it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lovely colour.
Pretty, isn't it?
Most
Yeah.
attractive.
And they flower all the time, like
Do they?
constantly,
Oh.
yeah, all the time.
Wow.
Interesting. These are slightly different, but this is another type of carnivorous plant, and it creates these pitchers. So same thing with the Nepenthes.
Oh!
So they're full of liquids. You see the size?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is a cephalotus. So this comes from Western Australia. This will flower as well eventually at some point. But yeah, it's got like little teeth, little backwards facing teeth that the insects fall in, get trapped, and then it digests them
Yeah.
again. Yeah. This is my biggest plant. I think they're really pretty, and what it does is if you look, if I hold it up, you look up there. So basically the insect climbs up this ladder of hairs and then it looks up, and when the sun's shining it looks like they've got like little windows, and it thinks it can take off straight up, and it bumps into that and then drops down into the water. Yeah.
And that's lunch.
And that's lunch, yeah. I feed them on horseflies, so these were in my office at work. See, I've got a big terrarium at work, and that's what I was. So they're basically growing up on a diet of big horseflies.
Yuck.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty much it. Yeah, I've got a few orchids up on the ceiling. There's the big Sologeny up here. It's got a big flower bud coming on it, ready for spring. Just there.
That's a flower bud.
That's a flower bud. That is, and that will produce like these big white, sort of quite show-offy sort of flowers.
Yes.
They're quite over the top almost. And so yeah, that's going to flower. So here comes
Hello,
Harry.
my
Hello, Harry. You all right?
I just went for the vegetables to carry in.
Are you going to carry the vegetables in that, are you? Okay, that's
Where are
brilliant. You
the
can give Daddy a hand.
vegetables then?
We've got to prep the vegetables for Christmas dinner.
Okay, I'll come and do that then.
Well, that'll be fun, won't it? What I'll do is I'll just
Have
move
the others gone walks?
They haven't gone yet.
They haven't gone yet.
Isn't this? Do you like coming out here? Fascinating, isn't
Yes,
it?
mine got a sundew in here. Where's my sundew, Daddy?
Well, find yours. So Harry's got his own ones that
Has
I got for him. Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is my one.
Here we go, Harry. These are yours. Here.
This is my one. That's mine. That's my
Oh
sundew.
my word.
Look at that.
That is
So these are Alice sundews, Drosera aliaceae. So these all come from Cape Town sort of area, sort of like
Yes.
Table Mountain.
Yeah.
And these are called Cape sundews, Drosera capensis. You can touch them; they're very sticky. See?
Oh yes.
Yeah. And these are Harry's ones.
Yes.
Fascinating, aren't they?
Good, aren't they? Don't drop them. Just going to pop them back up there for you.
I should.
Pop them back up here for you, but I've got some supplementary lighting because it's not, the day period isn't light enough here, because most of these come from tropical environments or near the equator.
Yes.
Not so much these, so obviously they're used to like 12 hours of sunlight a day all the time, so imagine how pale it is, because we've got Harnham Slope up there. It never really gets very bright down here, so I've got to get some supplementary lighting. This is interesting. This is a Drosera regia, or the king sundew. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this thing, these are tiny baby leaves. These will get like this long.
Really?
Yeah, like 18 inches long, and they've been known to get so big in the wild that they actually catch small birds.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, so yeah, these are also very rare. So these are only known from 2 locations in Africa. I think they're only known now from 1 in the wild, because they're obviously loss of habitat. But yes, it's growing very well. It really hated the hot weather, but now it's really making a big comeback. So it's looking really good. It does not like hot weather. So, but these grow in scrubs, so like in like tall
You
grasses
say it
and
comes
stuff.
from Africa. What is it?
Yeah.
High up in Africa.
On the side of not mountain ranges, but not particularly high altitude. No, but the Bands Kloof mountain range is where it's most known from. I have no idea either,
No.
but I remember. So yeah, that's growing really. So that's pretty much the greenhouse, really. So it's
Lovely,
not-
isn't it? Your daddy does very well,
Yes,
doesn't he?
Nana and Daddy and me made the green shed.
You did, yeah. Harry helped
Nana
build it.
did?
Yeah.
Nana and me and Daddy,
Daddy.
made it.
Very good.
Mummy Nana helped to actually build the greenhouse, didn't she? Right. Should we go back inside? We've got some Brussels sprouts to
Oh, I can
do.
easily do all this then.
Yeah.
What?
Right, should we say goodbye to the camera, Harry?
Oh, dear.
Say goodbye to the camera, Nana.
Bye-bye.
So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a
Happy
Happy
New
New Year.
Oh
Brilliant.
dear, that's
There we
funny,
go.
isn't it?